Leviathans are a race of underwater intelligent reptiles found in the Mediterranean Sea. They have a long elongated body covered with purple and black scales forming a beautiful pattern. A wavy ridge of dark purple color runs along the entire back. Two small paws with 5 claws stick out from below. A large head with 3 pairs of horns and 2 pairs on the lower jaw, 1 pair on the skull. A white-red keratin process grows on the nose. Females are slightly smaller than males. They have a more rounded nasal process, as well as shorter horns. Leviathans are quite impressive in size, even by the standards of the underwater world. The body length of an adult is on average 200 meters, and the weight is up to 230 tons. However, Leviathans grow throughout life and can become even bigger in old age. Their life expectancy is very long and is about 150 years. The old Leviathan can grow up to 300 meters in length and weigh up to 290 tons. However, the Leviathans claim that this is not the limit. According to one of their legends, many thousands of years ago there lived a Leviathan named Cyprus. He lived to be 300 years old and was so big that when he died, an island named after him appeared on his remains. Despite the lack of evidence, the Leviathans sincerely believe in this story. But other sea races are skeptical of this legend, because a creature of that size simply couldn't feed itself. Leviathan is a carnivorous creature with excellent eyesight, keen sense of smell and hearing. He has sharp teeth that can grow back if they fall out, as well as jaws with the greatest bite force among living creatures, 11 tons. With such an arsenal, he is the main predator of his region. But despite the fact that Leviathans are natural killing machines, they like to cook and experiment with dishes. However, many races find their food disgusting, both in appearance and taste. Leviathan's favorite dish is a surprise head, a severed whale head with a side dish of seaweed and meat from other animals. I'm really sorry if you were eating at that moment. But due to its slow metabolism, Leviathan doesn't need much food. One hearty meal is enough for him for a month. Leviathans live in groups of 20 individuals called a tribe. The leader of the tribe is the patriarch, the largest and strongest male in the group, or the matriarch, if the largest and strongest individual is a female. In a Leviathan society, gender doesn't matter. The only thing they respect and value is strength. Leviathans are known for their short-tempered and aggressive nature, even towards their own kind. Despite the fact that they are capable of meaningful actions and act within the framework of logic and common sense, they hate it when their opinion is questioned and can become enraged over any little thing. They can be angered by any careless word or casual glance. If Leviathan feels disrespected, he will challenge the opponent to a duel by growling loudly at him. If the opponent agrees to accept the challenge, he growls in response. During the duel, they fight with their heads, bellies, and paws. Teeth and jaws are used as a last resort if the opponent refuses to retreat. However, fatalities are very rare, as Leviathans do not consider defeat in battle to be something shameful, so they admit defeat if necessary. It is considered much more shameful if the opponent refuses to accept the challenge. In this case, he is disgracefully expelled from the tribe as a coward. Any adult can take part in the duel. Sometimes there are duels between men and women, but usually it happens during family quarrels. Leviathans find a mate for life. At the same time, they arrange ritual fights with their partner's closest relatives to prove to his family that they deserve to be together. Leviathans are viviparous reptiles. Pregnancy lasts for 1 year, after which the female gives birth to 1 cub, which has neither horns nor keratin growths on the nose. The parents take care of the cub for the next 19 years, after which he grows tiny horns and a keratin outgrowth, which symbolizes his readiness for an independent life. After that, he leaves his family and tribe for a whole year, surviving in the wild. If he returns a year later, he will officially be considered an adult. Despite their aggressiveness, Leviathans have a high level of social intimacy. If one of them is attacked, the others will help him. If Leviathan is injured, his kin will protect and take care of him. If Leviathan dies of old age, his tribe will arrange a special farewell ceremony for him, burying his body deep in the sand so that scavengers cannot eat him. Many scientists and philosophers of the underwater world are arguing about the origin of Leviathans. But recent research shows that their history begins during the Ice Age, when the Mediterranean Sea was blocked on all sides by land. They had to share it with many other creatures: mermaid, capricorn, hydra, sea serpent, and charybdis. Having such neighbors, the Leviathans adapted to aggressiveness, and as a result they were able to become the main predators of the Mediterranean, defeating all their competitors and forcing them to pay tribute in the form of raw meat. They also terrorized people by sinking their ships and attacking coastal towns. But this celebration of life ended when Krakens appeared in the Mediterranean Sea. They did not show aggression and tried to establish contact with an unknown race, but the Leviathans, believing that these aliens were their new competitors, attacked their diplomatic delegation and ate it. Thus began the first war between the Krakens and Leviathans, which lasted for almost 30 years. At first, the Leviathans gained the upper hand, but the conquered peoples rebelled against them, and eventually the Krakens and their allies managed to win, but with heavy losses. As a result, the Leviathans themselves became subordinates of the Krakens, who forbade them to fight other races, as well as attack humans. Even though the Leviathans didn't like being commanded, they nevertheless obeyed because they respected strength. However, the Leviathans sought independence and rebelled against the Krakens over the next millennia. There were about 50 such uprisings in total, but they all ended in failure. The most famous Leviathan rebellion took place 100 years before the War of the Trident, during the Kraken Civil War. At that moment, the self-proclaimed Queen of the Seven Seas, Pearl, promised the Leviathans freedom if they would support her in a war with another giant Krakens. They agreed and sided with her. However, despite this, Queen Pearl was defeated, as were the Leviathans. This defeat was one of the reasons they decided to remain neutral during the Trident War, despite the fact that both the Kraken and the mermaids were trying to win them over. However, due to their long lives, many Leviathans witnessed or even participated in the last war. Therefore, anti-war sentiments were strong among them. In addition, most Leviathans were tacitly on the side of the Kraken, as they respected their strength and considered them more worthy rulers of the ocean than the mermaids, whom they despised for betraying them in the first war with the Kraken. In addition, the Leviathans considered Marissa a fraud, as she received her power from the Trident. Although many of the young were supporters of the mermaids and wanted to openly speak out on their side, their desire ran into the harsh position of the older generation, which eventually prevailed. In the underwater world, Leviathan enjoys a bad reputation as a ruthless savage obsessed with violence. Among people, he is presented as a biblical monster, wreaking havoc and destruction. And that's partly true. But we must not forget that they became like this because of objective events that they could not influence in any way. And besides, despite all its bad sides, Leviathan has positive traits, such as caring for kindred and a sense of honor, which are absent in some representatives of other races.